of Higher Learning, because the university union, that is UASU, has issued a strike notice to the government saying that the 20th of January 2019, they will be going on strike if the government fails to pay them their salary dues that was supposed to be done by the end of November last year. So what is the way forward? To give us an in-depth explanation as to what is causing this crisis and whether they've had a sit-down with the government through the Ministry of Education, CS Cabinet Secretary, that is Professor George Magoha, is none other than Cyprian Ombati. He is UASU trustee. Thank you so much, Mr. Ombati, for talking to us here on KTN News Center this morning. Talk to us about this crisis that's about to happen within the education sector. What has really caused it?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to say that this is a CBA that we are calling a CBA 2017-2021. In essence, it means that all university workers were to get a salary increment legally as per the laws of Kenya from 1st of July 2017. But up to now, we are 30 months beyond, and yet we are still earning the old rates. So what simply it means is that we were to negotiate with the government, which we have done. And remember, this is the one that made us to go on strike for about 78 days in early 2018. So that is the same CBA we are still fighting for up to now. And you can be able to see how sometimes the government doesn't care. And this CBA, we were supposed to start it from 1st of July 2017. Here we are in the year 2020, and yet it's not yet out. We are supposed, in fact, to start even a new CBA, that is 2021-2025. So what has happened is that we met with the IPUCCF, the body with which we negotiate. We negotiated a deal, and it was signed on 28th of October 2019. And in that deal, we agreed that the implementation or the payment of the monies to our members was to happen on or before 30th of November 2019. But that date passed, nothing has happened. They called us for another meeting where we held several meetings with them. The bone of contention in this thing is the total amount of money. Yeah, you get that our CBA is coming to 13.8 billion. That is what is required. And the government already, in fact, when we went to negotiations, they told us that we have 8.8 billion, which we are ready to give you as soon as we sign the deal. So we were expecting that money to come so that our members can be able to benefit. You see, it is very unfair when a member who was supposed to get an increment way back in 2017, July, has not received that increment up to now.
So Mr. Ombati, you're telling us that even the 8.8 billion shillings, the offer that the government gave you as of that time, has not been remitted to your members? Yeah,
they haven't. In fact, that is what we were expecting. On 23rd of December, they met. They agreed, they signed the documents, and we were expecting that by evening of that day or the following day, which was 24th, because that's what they said, our members were to receive the amounts.
But was this money actually factored into the budget, the Ministry of Education's budget?
Yeah, when we started negotiations, they told us we have money. In fact, it is the union that is delaying us. We want you to sign this deal so that we give you your money now. They told us that they have money. In fact, on how they obtain money, where it comes from, that's not the business of the union. Because us as a union we negotiate. Once we negotiate and we sign a deal, it is them to see when to pay. Because we had a clause saying on or before 30th, that means that, that's what they told us, that yes, on or before 30th of November 2019, we'll have the money in your accounts. But as of today, as I'm speaking, that money has not arrived in our accounts.
But then there is something that the government has always been pushing for, especially through the Ministry of Labour, that is sitting on the round table and having a discussion. Have you done that with the Ministry of Education or with the people involved in all this process of negotiation?
Yes, that's what we have been doing. In fact, the day we signed that deal, all the stakeholders were there. Ministry of Education was represented, SRC was represented, the Ministry of National Treasury was represented, and IPUCCF, the body with which we negotiate, was there. So in other words, the government part, all of them were on the table. We agreed these dates, they were there. The monies, they are the ones actually who told us that that money will be paid by that date. So when you see UASU coming and calling for a strike come 20th of January, it means that something is wrong somewhere.
No, but my question, Mr. Ombati, is before the Secretary General, Constantine Wasonga, issued that strike notice yesterday, was there a meeting with the government? When I'm asking the government, I mean the representative of the government at the helm at the Ministry of Education, that is Professor George Magoha, who is the Cabinet Secretary, before issuing this strike notice.
Yes. What I know is that 23rd, we had an official meeting where we agreed on the modes of payment. all along from 23rd, our National Secretary has been in touch with all the stakeholders, the ministry, the SRC, they have been talking. And by the time we reach a point where we are now issuing a strike notice, which we are going to do on Monday for 7 days, and that means that come 20th of January, we'll start a strike. So the government, we are talking to them, Ministry of SRC, Ministry of Education, etc., so that come Monday, they should become, in fact, we have given them a period, that Monday 13th, they should come back to the union and tell us how they have placed their house in order.
All right.
If nothing has happened by that time, then if you see us issuing that notice on Monday 13th, then it means that still they have not come to the table to negotiate with us.
All right. So now that the government has not honored the CBA currently in place, that's hindering the negotiations of a new CBA of 2021 to 2025.
Yes.
Is everything in the CBA, the current CBA, has everything been implemented rather? Is just remaining the arrears of the salary increment?
No, they haven't. In fact, as we speak, nothing has been implemented in that CBA. This is a deal we signed with them, we agreed, and the greater part of that CBA actually is the amounts. That is the basic salary. That's what members are waiting for. So
nothing has been implemented?
Yeah, there is nothing.
So
the implementation means them paying us money. Yeah, once our members receive money, you never see a strike anywhere.
No, apart from the money, yes, I know, but there are also in terms of promotions of lecturers. There are in terms of the working conditions of the lecturer, the house allowance of the lecturers.
Yes.
Those are some of the issues that were in this controversial CBA.
Yeah.
So have all those things been implemented? It is just the salary increment for the lecturers that is remaining?
Yeah, the salary is the major issue in that CBA. The other one is house allowance. In fact, house allowance, they never gave us even a coin. They just said, house allowance, we are not giving you an increment. So you can be able to see how unfair they have been to us, because what it means is that the last time we got a house allowance was in the year 2010. All along for the last 10 years, no lecturer has received an increment in house allowance. And yet where we stay or where people are renting their houses, the rent goes up each and every day. So those are some of the things that UASU has given a leeway, so that can you implement the basic salary as was agreed? Because now you are saying house allowance, they said they are not going to give us even a coin. And then we said, because of that, yeah, process of give and take, yes, we accepted that. So we are now telling them that, where is the problem? Because you don't want to pay our basic salary, as was agreed in the document. So if they come, in fact, there isn't anything that is remaining in that CBA if they implement the basic salary, because that is the major thing that is there. The other one is house allowance, which I can tell you, house allowance, there is no even a coin that we are going to receive. So we are only waiting for the basic salary.
So if the government allows to give you the pending, salary increment arrears and not touching on the house allowance, you will be comfortable with that as a union? Yeah,
because that's what we agreed in our deal. In fact, as we are speaking, if they give us the 8.8, because we signed on 23rd of December, that 8.8 will be given to us.
By November? By
that, because it was by November, which they didn't do, then we agreed that come 23rd of December, when we agreed the deal, we were waiting for the money on 24th. In fact, before Christmas, everyone was waiting that something is going to fall into our accounts, but nothing has happened so far. So what we are saying is, out of the 13.8 billion that is required, 8.8, if it is availed to us today, there will be no strike.
All right.
And the balance that remains, we are waiting for the government to give us and undertake a commitment when they are going to pay that, because there will be a balance of 5 billion.
All right. I know you're not the right person to answer my next question, but when you're going on strike, the longest strike that the public university has ever had, 78 days.
Yes.
Talking of KUSU also, KUSU had the same problems with the government that UASU had in terms of salary increment, in terms of the working conditions of the staff at the university, in terms of also the house allowance. As we speak right now, might you be having information as to whether some of the demands by KUSU, when it comes also to salary increment, has been implemented?
None. In university, we have 3 unions, KUSU, and there's another one, KUDEIA. None of these unions, as far as I'm informed, has received any amount. So what is happening, as UASU was given a strike, as we are going to give a strike notice, I'm very sure that our brothers from KUSU and the KUDEIA will also join in the bandwagon, because even them, they haven't received. Had they received, in fact, it could be in the news and we could be aware that they have been given. So what the government has done is, entire workforce in the universities have not received anything as far as 2017-2021 CBA is concerned.
All right. And I know, even when your Secretary General was speaking yesterday, it came out as though the only language that the government understands is strike, that will bring them on the negotiating table. But why do you think the government is reluctant in implementing the CBA?
In fact, when you look at the history of UASU, and even those who were there before us, they have told us that most of the CBAs are implemented after there is a strike. And that is even what our members know. If you cannot down your tools and go on strike, then maybe that is the language they best understand. Then you cannot be able to have monies in our accounts. All along, it has been a strike. We negotiate, we sign a deal, then they dilly-dally, they don't pay that deal, we go on strike, then now they implement. And now when you look at that, that's why we are telling that members of the public that they should not be blaming lecturers. Even our students and parents who are watching now, come 20th, there'll be a real strike. And it's going to affect them. They are going to be longer in the universities. Parents will pay their fees, but nobody will deliver services. The problem here is the government side. That is the Ministry of Education, the SRC. Let them put their house in order. In fact, where we are now, that matter is not about the union. Because as a union, we signed a deal, we finished. It is them to know where the monies are coming from, how they are going to do, how Treasury is going to transfer what, I don't know what. When they do all those things, what we want to see is implementation of that CBA. So, in fact, it takes me aback that the Cabinet Secretary in Ministry of Education was a Vice Chancellor in a public university. In fact, even before, he also headed negotiations, sometimes back, I'm told. So we are wondering that, we thought that he understands the language. In fact, we were even saying that under his leadership, there will be no strike from UASU or universities. But now you can see, the inevitable is that we are going to have a strike on 20th. Yet the Cabinet Secretary understands each and everything that happens at the universities. And have you tried
engaging the Ministry of Labour? Because the Ministry of Labour is very key in all this negotiation process in ensuring that CBAs are actually implemented.
Yes. Our National Secretary General has talked to all stakeholders, including the Ministry of Labour. We have done our part. We gave them the deal. They were there. They signed. Their signatures are on that CBA. What you're wondering is what is not happening. Why must we go on strike in order to be able to get what we ought to receive? And I want to remind you, and even viewers, that all along when you look at this thing, how comes that it is only in public universities where there is always a delay? When we negotiate a CBA, like even the one that 2013, 2017, we were the last from the government sector employees to receive the pay. Even now as I'm speaking, if I use an example of teachers, teachers never went on strike because their 2017-21 CBA was implemented on date. July 2017, they received their salaries on time. But we, UASU, we didn't. Up to now, we have not received.
All right, just hold on to that thought. I need to bring our viewers up to date with what is making the headlines. And this is touching on a very senior politician in the country, that is Moses Kuria, who is reportedly, allegedly reportedly assaulted Joyce Wanja, who is also a media communicator known by her stage name, Wagishungumwa, at the Royal Media Offices. It is reported that Joyce Wanja, an activist, alleges that the Gatundu Member of Parliament, Moses Kuria, descended on her with slaps and blows while she was on her line of duty preparing to go live on air for Inoro TV Kirimbi show. The activist Joyce Wanja has recorded a statement at the Kilimani police station where she says she can only hope that Moses Kuria is not too mighty for justice to be ensured. And further to the information that we've just received now, it is that 4 witnesses who were present at the time when Moses Kuria attacked Joyce Wanja of Royal Media Services have come out to say they are ready to testify as they witnessed the MP assault the media personality. That is the latest information that we're getting right now, touching on Gatundu Member of Parliament, Moses Kuria, assaulting a media personality working for a station of the Royal Media Services, and she says that she was attacked while going on air for the Inoro TV. And witnesses who witnessed what happened say that they are ready to write a statement of what happened. A developing story right there, touching on Gatundu Member of Parliament, Moses Kuria. Once you get more details, we will keep you updated here on KTN News Center. But just to wind up my interview,